it's hard to know where to begin. But let me just say that back in 2001, I remember there weren't quite this many cameras.
That's right.
When we got, then I introduced the DREAM Act into the House of Representatives. A couple of months later, Senator Durbin introduced his version of the DREAM Act. And I still remember those young people. And finally, 11 years later, they're going to be able to get some relief. I hope most of them have not aged out and will be able to get the relief. I just want to go back just quickly. Everybody remembers, those of us in this fight and the struggle, when Betty La Fea and Desperate Housewives, Eva Longoria showed up at the White House and they walked out their meeting with the president and they said, oh, we have to wait for the Congress to act. There's nothing we can do. And then there were those of us that said, yes, there is something you can do. And we remember when there were labor leaders, and Bloomberg, the mayor of New York, and Schwarzenegger, the governor from California, and they walked out of the White House and said, there's nothing we can do. Even Don Francisco, it'll probably be edited from the Univision copy. Even Don Francisco from Sábado Gigante said, no se puede hacer nada. Hay que, se tienen que unir. And there were those of us that said no. And many of you continue, and I remember at the ICE offices last November, when Centros Sin Fronteras and so many organizations arrested day in and day out saying, stop these deportations, stop these deportations. And we said, what about children, American citizen children that are losing their moms and their dads, legally, born in this country, American citizen children? What do we know? We know that every 6 months, 40,000 people are deported that have an American citizen child, just one. I mean, I want you to take over 4 years how many that means. That means over 250,000. We have 800,000 people that we're here to celebrate today. But what it demonstrates is if you're forceful, if you're tenacious, if you're forthright, if you're fighting for justice, you can win. And we won last Friday. And I want to thank one woman, the tenacity, the courage, the ingenuity of all of the dreamers across this nation who came together and said to their friends and their allies, join us, we will lead. Congratulations to you. This is a victory that is marked by your tenacity. And I want to thank you. It's great when you're working with such a coalition of people. And so that's what we got. But I want to say today, and I hope the press will help us, look, there are going to be those out in our community. There are going to be people out in our community that are going to want to exploit and take advantage of this situation. There's nothing to apply for. The regulations and the forms will be issued in approximately 60 days. I assure you that we are well capacitated to call upon you and to tell you and to help you get through this last part of the road to getting that work permit. And we will help you get there. So when you hear the advertisement, because it will come, when the flyers show up, because they will be delivered, pay them no mind. In 60 days, there will be a process in which you are going to be able to apply for a work permit. A work permit that is for 2 years, that is renewable any number of times as long as President Barack Obama is President of the United States. Because he's the one, and his administration is the one that issued these guidelines. And as we know, guidelines can be changed from one administration to the other. Let me just say that we need to work on a permanent fix to our broken immigration system. And we need to work to make sure, you see all these beautiful young people here today that are undocumented and unafraid? They have moms, and they have dads, they have uncles, they have grandparents, they have brothers and sisters that are of their same blood with their last name that aren't eligible for this program. And we cannot rest until all of them are offered the same opportunity to come out of the shadow and to be integrated fully into the society that is America. And that is our pledge and our commitment. In the interim period, we must organize our community to make sure that not one of the 800,000 that is eligible doesn't get that work permit. We have worked and sacrificed too much to let one of you down at this stage of the process. This is not a time simply to celebrate. This is a time to say to ourselves, how do we orchestrate and engineer a system that will be there for you? So I'm going to go back to Congress tomorrow morning. I'm going to tell all my colleagues that on June 23rd at Benito Juarez, we're going to invite all of those that are eligible to come forward so we can sign you up, so we can get you the kind of advice that you're going to need, so that we can inform you in an intelligent way without any cost to you. Josh, we've been doing citizenship, over 50,000 of them. How many are we at?
58,163.
58,000. And you want to know something? No, let's get 58,000 Americans.
163.
I want to tell you something. And not one of them paid one single penny for us to fill out one of those citizenship forms. And I'm going to tell you something. Not one penny should be spent on filling out these forms as you go about getting your thing. We are knowledgeable. And we are prepared as a community to make sure that we embrace you and that we take full advantage of the current situation. Now, I want to say this. I look forward to working with all of my colleagues on a permanent solution. Many of you know that when Senator Rubio introduced a modified version of the DREAM Act, I didn't say no, 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 no. I said let's sit down. Because anybody and everybody that is willing to fight to end the deportations is a friend and an ally of this community. Once you're deported from the United States, once you are separated from us legally and deported from here, you don't think that when we finally pass comprehensive immigration reform, there's going to be a section that says, we were just kidding, why don't you just come on back? No. You are probably gone for us in good measure forever. So if we're going to save those families, if we're going to preserve the integrity of those families, we have to start. And we're going to start, and I'm so happy, we're going to start with 800,000 young people in the United States of America on that road.